Welcome, fellow armchair generals. This is Gamer1745 with my first special tutorial episode. You can call this a tutorial episode for Black Ice 8. This was requested by Herman, and he's very right to request it because it could be very useful. He wants to know about the effects of the strategic resources and the buildings. So we're going to go through that here. Some of them will be the traditional buildings that you probably already know, and we'll go over those very quickly. You can see all the buildings here. We're going to go through the buildings first, and then we will jump over to the strategic resources. Airports, air bases. Sort of they do what they say on the tin. They are where you base your aircraft out of. You can build up to level 10, but via events you can go to higher levels. Black Ice is designed to have much greater numbers of air units than vanilla Hoi game. That's why they've adjusted the build cost to reflect this. So what might be useful as a 3 or 4 level air base in regular Hearts of Iron won't be as useful with Black Ice 8. So that's that. Naval base is still very vanilla in many aspects. I've yet to have, a problem finding enough naval bases to deal with that. So that's where you base your ships out of course. Coastal forts, they help in defending against invasions. Otherwise, they are basically useless. And I'm going to pause here and say, if I get something wrong, some of the Black Ice people or others who know and have done the math, please correct me. I'm looking through the code on most of this, and I think I'm going to get it right, but I don't want to pass out wrong information. So, coastal forts, they defend against invasion, but only help with that, but only if you have troops in the province at the time. If the province is empty, they do no good. They're unmanned then. Pillbox. This was requested by some players. This is a quick level production for basically entrenchments, sandbags, other sort of quick fortifications, small concrete pillboxes, that kind of thing, that can be very, very rapidly built in a short time. It's not that they're significantly cheaper for the amount of defense that they can build than a traditional fortress, but even if you're building like a level 1 fortress on like in a recently captured island or someplace like this, it takes a long time to build a fortress, and so you would have, a 3/4 built fortress and then being attacked that gives you no, just in the production queue, gives you no defensive ability. So this was a way to start some defenses, get them in there quick. The standard fortress, they were sort of to allow these to happen. These were weakened, so to sort of get the old maximum, you need to build up both. These aren't necessarily any more expensive, and I haven't done the detailed math on it for the amount of defense that they give, but they take a lot longer to build each one. Anti-aircraft. These units, and if you see them wandering off, that's because I'm going over to a text file next to here that I can look up the details on things. Aircraft or anti-air effectiveness has been increased from my understanding, but has also been significantly increased in cost over standard vanilla or previous versions of Black Ice. Radar stations have been heavily nerfed in Black Ice over the years. I used to traditionally build a bunch in Calais that would look real deep into Britain, and Britain would obviously build some that look real deep in there. There's some gameplay aspects and impact on radar and for fighters that go into all of this, because radar has been used as both an impact on air combat as well as a radio intercept intelligence gathering joint feature, so meaning understanding what ground units are in the area as well. So those have been nerfed down, but they still perform their basic function. Rocket test build site. You only ever need one of these. It's sort of a game mechanic. They cost a lot. They're sort of to keep, I guess, minor nations from, oh, I'm going to research rocket technologies and get V1s and V2s and start doing it, but they're hugely expensive through TRE, and now Black Ice has adopted the event. Not a free, but a very cheap rocket test site here to sort of match Germany's historical development in there. Still costs a lot for everybody else because they didn't really have rockets. Just gets them along if you want to go there. ICs basically the same as ever before. You need to build them. You can build up to max 10 in a province. There can be more if given by events in a province, but limit build. Heavy industry capacity, heavy ICs. Basically, these are a multiplier, and I think, and let me go check just to make sure. Heavy industry, yes. It multiplies the amount of ICs in that province by 25%. So each IC here is equal to 1.75 ICs because there's 3 heavy ICs in this province. The heavy ICs don't affect any other province. They are limited entirely to that. Nuclear reactors. Basically, my understanding is they are similar to a, and I don't normally build nukes, so I'm not very familiar with it, similar to a rocket test site in that you only need one of them. Maybe if you have more, you'll get more nukes quicker. Not sure on that. Now, shipyards. One of the new buildings, these I believe are the buildings that are only available either through events or decisions. You can't build them. I'm looking here. Yeah, you can't repair them. So if they're at all damaged, they're of no use. These buildings reduce naval build speed by 1% for each building. Not just, anywhere on your map. So if you can capture them somehow without any damage, I think you will get them, but if they're at all damaged, need repair, you don't get the benefits from them. Beach defenses. Beach defenses are a coastal fort type. Again, I don't believe you can well, they have a damage factor, so maybe you can build them. I'm not sure. They take a research, because obviously, oh well, let me go to the, maybe it just needs to be a, yep, you just need to be on a coastal province. So yes, so you can build those. It was confusing me for the moment. Then we have, and there's a lot, and we're going through all of them. Small arms factories. Small arms factories reduce land build speed by 0.7%, so less than 1%. So you need a lot of them to build up more, 2 of them equal almost 1.5% reduction in land build speed for units. Tank factories, it's tank build speed. So units that have tank types, if you will, um, it reduces it again by the same 0.7%. And again, these buildings, I do believe, are only they're non-buildable. They're non-repairable. They're only given by events or decisions. Aircraft factories, next one down, is a 0.5%. So they're 0.5% reduction in air build speeds. And let's see, then we go to steel factories, or as I say, steel refineries here. I guess its name was changed. They increase the local metal in that province, so you would only, let's switch over to, you would only want to build one on a province with, and they've gone in and readjusted things. Where's, oh, steel, oh, steel, yeah. You only want to build them on a province which has steel, because they will increase local steel by 25%. So whatever the base local steel amount is, as you can see right now on Saarbrücken, here metal is 20%, but you look over here, it's, or I mean not 20%, but 20 points. You look over here, it's 43.2, which would be a combination of the steel refineries and other techs that you've researched. So it would be that gets you up to here. So if you are Germany and you want more steel and you can't trade for it, you can build more steel refineries. Coal mining, similarly, 25% increase in energy. So you would, and they're local, so you only want to build them in a province with the electric symbol here to increase there. Sourcing rares or rare extraction. They are also local. It's 25% increase in local, so you can increase your rares. So now Germany, there's a max, because you can only build up to 10 unless they're given by events. So you can continue the expansion of extractions for rare materials. This is something that should be included in the 4-year plan events of TRE, but I have not gone in and reworked them for Black Ice 8. That's a lot of work, and I've just been trying to get the basics done and out so you guys can play it. We'll see about reworking them in the future. And that would also hold true particularly, well, with energy. To me, I think it's almost wasted, because Germany gets way too much as it is. I mean, it was a major coal producer, but I think it gets way too much. And steel, it needed, once it got cut off from other sources, it needed the Swedish steel supply. And normally, I don't think it does need it. But this would allow that. Oil rigs here. Similarly, local crude oil in that province, so you need to find, and they are. I wonder if Germany's expanding with the modern fracking technology, but they did, you can see here, they did have oil sources before World War II, and they continue to expand them to some degree. Not as big as Ploetzi in Romania, but there were significant, and significant is one thing, but nowhere near sustainable for Germany's oil needs. But they did have local oil wells, and this isn't just Hearts of Iron. Well, we got to give them something for game mechanics. No, they really had oil wells in Germany that were of significant production. Then what they're calling an oil refinery here is also referred to in the thing, and I think it would be better as, although it may just be too long of a name, synthetic oil factories. They deal with and improve 2.5% increase in fuel conversion from energy to fuel. Oh wait, well, is it energy to fuel or oil to fuel? Fuel conversion. I'm not absolutely sure on that, whether that's converting to oil or to fuel. I'm not sure. It says fuel conversion. I'm not sure exactly what that's referring to in the code here, and I'm just quickly going down the code. Then we have supply factories here, manufacturing plants. These produce global supply, so it's not just what's in that province, it's a global supply situation. 2% increase for each one of these in supply production. So if you want to increase your supply production without shifting more here so that you can have more ICs producing other things, you can build, well, you can't build, sorry, but through events and decisions you can get more supply factories, basically manufacturing plants. Training bases, these affect unit starting experience levels. Each training base increases it by 2%. So I was cautioned not to go around and add too many via events, because although they were real training bases, you'll eventually start unbalancing the game way too much. So they are given by events, and it's quite clear that Germany had greater training institutions, whether you're looking at its military colleges, basic training facilities, things like the NSKK driving school, and that had that much more training infrastructure than, say, Romania did at the time. So it's something to reflect this, and can be changed again via events and decisions. Urban expansions, or urbanization as it's also called here in the text. It is a manpower modifier, so it means there's a city there, more people, local manpower in that province only, so it's local, it's not overall. Manpower is increased by 5% just in that one province. So it's just this number here is getting improved if you have one of those. It is not a 5% overall. Research lab, this one here, it improved research efficiency by 5%. Again, unbuildable and non-repairable. Well, no, is it? Yeah, non-repairable. So you can't build them. Only given to you by either events or decisions. So you can't, sink a lot of resources into it and skew yourself way out of the game. So it improves, like I said, improves research by 5% overall. Hospitals, again, non-repairable, can't build them. Balance situation, it improves casualty trickle back by 5%. And that's this, a hospital, base hospital. Police stations, these are buildable, repairable, buildable. They reduce local risk revolt risks. Revolt risks. Sorry, I'm not speaking well today, I guess. By 0.5%. So it may not seem like a lot, but that's my understanding here. defense descent. It's this number here by 0.5% or 50%. I'm not sure. So I'm saying it's dash, minus 0.5. So is that some of the way these are constructed? I'm not sure. But it reduced local revolt risks, and that's what it does. You can build those around. Obviously, they cost time 200 days, 7 IC, so that's fairly expensive. So you just can't put one everywhere. You still build other things. Then infrastructure, same basic as always. You get to do that. That helps primarily supply, but also strategic redeploying. Then railroad terminus. Those are they increase supply throughput by 1%, and it's universal. It's not local. It's an overall factor. Again, not buildable or repairable. And desperate defense going down. Desperate defense. Fort level 1. So again, not buildable. It's, I think, designed to be given by events to simulate defending Leningrad or Stalingrad or whatever. Stalingrad. And do they have it? Yes, they have a desperate defense here. So if you get there, we don't know how many of these because I'm not tag switched over to them. I presume, well, they might have multiple of these, but it's to give the AI a fighting chance, or more than a fighting chance, of holding some of these cities. So that's the buildings. Because this has taken as long as it has, I'm going to do a second video on the strategic resources. So this is just part 1, going through the buildings. Next one will be the strategic resources. Thank you for viewing. We will continue this. Happy playing, happy gaming.